What is good, everyone? So today I'm going to show you how I created this footer only using React, and I implemented style components as well as compound components in order to create this. So it's going to be a lot cleaner code, and I couldn't find any newer videos about this, so I figured I'd create one myself from some courses that I've learned from and show you how I did it. So pretty much just ignore this since I didn't want to fill in the background with a full website. But basically, the purple little rectangle down here, your typical footer, hover over, changes the effects, and then I got a little icon action going right here. And then basically when I zoom it's down to mobile responsive, you can see that they adjust accordingly. And again, this is made with stock components and compound components, so it's not the typical way where you see with the CSS and all that. We're going to be utilizing a much different way in case you haven't seen that. But let's get into the code editor and start coding. So let's get started. So here I am with my terminal open. So if you have not already, go ahead and search up your terminal on your computer. I have a MacBook, or if you have Windows, wherever that's located. And let's go ahead and type in npx and then create -react-app. And then the next part will pretty much be the file name you want to save it as. So I'm just going to say React. Let's see, React footer. I'm going to say YT, and I'm just put version 1. And again, this is just me saying it for YouTube, but again, you can name whatever you want to. And then I'm going to go ahead and press enter. Now, depending on your computer, it might take you forever to load up. Mine is fairly quick, but it just depends on how fast your computer is and whatever else goes on. But once this does load up, I'll see you on the other side. All right, so once yours loads up, you'll see at the bottom CD and then React footer or whatever the file you named the file name as. And then I have yarn installed, but if you're just starting off, you don't have this, you probably will say npm install. So in case you are starting out first time, just type in CD and then react-footer-yt- v1. So whatever you named your file could be different from mine. Press enter, and then if you don't have yarn and it says npm, just go ahead and type in npm. Actually, don't go that yet. Wait ahead and let's do code dot first. So this will open up VS Code, and if you don't have this setting already created, a simple Google search should be able to show you how to set that up. And then if not, you could also open up VS Code from your folder and just pretty much drag and drop in as you typically would make a VS Code file. And then after that, let's go ahead and do either you do npm install if you don't have yarn, and then you'd press enter here. And if you do have yarn, you pretty much say yarn start here, and I'm gonna hit enter. And this will pretty much load up the application, and then you'll see a cool little logo with the React spinning around once this loads up. So now you can see we have everything working fine. So now let's go ahead back into the VS Code and let's start coding up. All right, so first thing, let's go to the src folder, click on this, and let's get rid of the app.css. We're not gonna need this because we're gonna use stock components. And let's get rid of the app.test. Also, let's get rid of the index.css. Logo.svg, we can delete this one. And service workers, and then setup test right here, delete that one. And we're left with index, and we can get rid of these for now because this is just a footer part. And then let's delete this import as service worker. We don't have the index.css anymore, so let's get rid of that. And I mean, we don't have to use this for this. It's a really pretty small application, but let's go here and just save that. I'm gonna have to edit this eventually, so I'm just gonna worry about making it look good later. And let's go into the app and let's get rid of everything inside of the return. Save this here. Get rid of the logo. Actually, let's get rid of both the app and the logo. And you're pretty much stuck with this. And let's actually go here inside the return. Let's say h1. Say yo. All right, perfect. We can see everything's working fine, nothing broke. All right, so now the first thing I want to do is go over to src and create a components folder. So I'm gonna go right click this, Go to new folder, and we're just going to type components. And then let's go within the components and let's create, right click that, and then create another folder and call this footer. And then within the footer, right click it, and then just click on new file and type index.js. And then go back over footers folder, right click it again, and do a new folder. And we're going to call this styles. And then over the styles folder, we're going to right click that and create a new file. And we're going to call this one footer.js. So just to repeat, make sure you did everything properly. Styles has the file footer.js inside of it. So if you click it, it looks like this. And then the footer has index.js. And then that's all within the component. So again, footer index.js, styles has footer.js, and styles is inside of the footer, which is inside a component. All right, so pretty simple, nothing crazy. And now let's go over to our index, and let's start off with importing React from React. And now this is where we're going to create our first components. And basically we're going to say exports default function, and this is going to be the footer. And then within the footer, we're going to pass in the children, and then also we can add the rest of the props. And then we'll add the curly braces, and let me actually spread this out so you can see much farther. And now we're going to return, and then we can call this the container. And then we have to pass in all the rest props just in case we end up adding anything in terms of design to this. And then inside of that will just be the children, and those are with curly braces in here. And now under this, we can use dot notation, and let's call this footer.wrapper. And this will essentially be able to display flex it, and then you'll see once we start editing it on the stock components, you'll see all this stuff. But right now, we're gonna say function, and then footer wrapper, and parentheses, and then basically I'm gonna say curly braces again, and it's gonna be the exact same thing above where we pass in the children, and then the rest of the props here, and then the curly braces outside of that, and then we're gonna return the wrapper, and then we're passing in the rest props again, and then pretty much we're gonna have the children inside of here. So this is pretty much the setup, and it's gonna be almost copy and paste for the rest. So this is gonna be, the tutorial might be super short, I don't know, we'll see, but basically I'm gonna copy and paste it once. So I have row, and then I gotta do column, the link, and then the title. And these are just the ones I have for this footer. If you end up having like an input form, like an email sign up form or something, of buttons and stuff, then you'd probably have to make another component folder. But basically here, let's go ahead and highlight the word wrapper. And a cool little shortcut is if you on keyboard Command D, and just if you highlight the word, so right now I have the word wrapper on the second one highlighted, press Command D, and then keep pressing it until all of them are highlighted. So I think it was 3 times I pressed it. And then now I could just straight up type in row, and you just save yourself a bunch of time without having to erase that manually. And it looks like row has the exact same stuff, children, rest props, so you don't have to edit anything besides the word. And then the next wrapper, let's Command D again, and then let's change this to column. And then for the second to last one, this is going to be the links. So Command D this again, so we have link. And then the last thing is going to be the title. So title. And this pretty much is done with this file here. And then the last thing we need to do is go to the top, and let's go import. And we have to import all of these that we just created. So we got to import the container, the wrapper, the row, the column, the link, and the title. And we're going to do this from /style/footer. And then I save that. And before we do get too far into this, we will need to install the stock components as well. So let's actually go ahead and if you're on VS Code, you can press Control and then the backtick sign. So the sign like right by the number 1 on your keyboard on the left of it, and it'll open up your terminal inside of here. So now I have actually the let me see if I can drag it over. In order to install stock components, I have the documentation. Let me drag it over here. If you have npm, you can literally just copy and paste this into your thing. So I can just straight up copy this right here, and then let me just copy it there, and then just press enter. And this is going to install stock components for us, and then that's going to allow us to do all that fancy styling without having to type in the CSS the traditional way. So once that loads up, we can actually start going into the footer. So now we're on the footer.js, and pretty much here, let's go to the top of this. So let this install. I don't know how long yours will take, but I don't think it's that long pretty much. So now let's go to the top of the footer.js while this is installing, and let's just type in import styled from style-components. Next, we want to import everything that we created from the index.js and the footer folder into our styles folder. And this is pretty much how we're going to create the footer. So let's go ahead and say exports const container, and then say equal to style.div the backtick, and then pretty much this is how all of them are going to look, but then we just have to add the essentially the CSS inside. So I can go ahead and press Alt Shift down arrow. So I have 6 total, and then I just got to go in and let me space them out really quick. So now within the actual container, let's go inside these backticks, press enter, and then I press tab here. I'm gonna say padding will be 80 pixels by 60 pixels. And then the background is going to be, let's see, background colon is going to say radial dash gradients, and then it's going to be a circle. I mean, you could literally make this whatever you want, but I just want to get a little fancy. And RGBA 92, 39, 251, 1, and then 0. And then let's do RGBA 112, 71, 247, and then 1, and then outside of this it'll just be 100%. And we save this, nothing's gonna show up yet because we need to actually add this to our application. So let's go back to our apps now, and let's go ahead and let's import this first. So we don't have the footer container yet, but we're about to create that. So let's import it first, and then curly braces, and say footer container. So again, we haven't created this yet, but we're gonna make a file called container. So we're gonna say from quotes dot slash containers slash footer, and then within here, this is where we're gonna place the footer container. And since it's just by itself, we're gonna have to add a fragment. So let me add a fragment really quick. It's basically a way to replace a div instead of putting a div, and then say footer container and then backslash like this. So let's save this now, and now you will see we can't because we don't have the actual folder. So now let's go over to src, right click this and say new folder, and let's just call this containers. So let's say containers. And let me close the component so you can see. Now over containers, right click this, and then go and type in new file. And then we can just type in footer.js. So now this is where the fun begins. So now let's go ahead and type in imports React from React, and then let's say imports footer from quotes dot slash components slash footer, And we're gonna add icons eventually. I made a separate folder for that. It's probably overkill, but I mean, I just want to make things separated. But for now, let me actually exit off this. So in case yours, mine took quite a while to load up, but I don't know. Usually I do yarn, but basically you should have your stock components loaded up by now. If not, hopefully it works out. But pretty much, I'm gonna go here and say export function. I'm gonna say footer container, and then parentheses, curly braces here, and I'm gonna say return, and then I'm gonna do parentheses again, enter. So now this is where we actually create the footer. So I'm gonna say footer here, and then press enter. And if I save this now, it should let's see, / container / footer. So I spelled containers with an S. So let me save that. And it's gonna say there's an error right now because we have on the components for the styles footer, we still have these here. So technically, if I just comment these out, save it, it's still gonna show up because we still have a bunch of columns. So might as well let's go ahead and actually let's fill this out now so we don't have the errors. So pretty much we're gonna go here and let's change this to column. And then also it's not gonna say like this. So let me see if I can change this out here. So we'll say export column. Actually, let me do wrapper first so we can stack it up. Let's say wrapper, and then let's do column here, and then let's do row, and then the last two we got is link, and then also we have title here. And let me just save this. And now you can see that it's working. So I don't know why my code editor is like graying it out, but basically the essential container is already created, but we don't have anything in the actual containers footer besides just the word footer, which is a container. So now let's finish up this, and then you'll be able to see the words and everything. And then we'll go back to the styles folder and style it up and make it look good after. So let's actually create the footer right now. So let's add the footer dot wrapper, and this essentially allowed you to make it display as a row, and then you can also have a max width on the actual container. And then let's say footer dot column, and then press enter. And this is where your actual menu items, or whatever you want to call them, will be placed in. So like home, about us, whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to say in here, we're going to say footer dot title. And this one I just have about us for this example. And then go outside the title, press enter. We're still inside of the footer column. And then just say the let's assign footer dot link. And then here you can just put href equals to hashtag. It's not going anywhere yet. And then pass in the word story. And then I'm going to go ahead and press Alt Shift down arrow 2 more times, and then we can change this to whatever you want to. So I'll just say clients, and then let's see here, this will be testimonials. All right, so now if I save this, nothing's going to show up because the footer wrapper column title link have not been styled yet. So let's actually go back now to the style so you can see it in real time what we're actually doing. So let me go to the wrapper. So I'm going to go inside the wrapper, enter in here and press tab, and I'm going to say display : flex direction column. And this tutorial is not focused on CSS, so if you have no idea what magic I'm doing right now, don't worry about this. You can mess around with it after, but pretty much typical display flex CSS stuff here. And then max width, and let's set this to 1000 pixels. And let's do margin 0 auto so we can center this. And that's not going to do anything because we still need to fill out the rest of these. So now I'm going to say display : flex here as well. And then I want this to say flex direction to be column, then text dash align to be left, and then margin dash left to be 60 pixels. Let me say this really quick, and I think I knew what happened back on the footer is every time I do this, let me see if make sure, yeah, it always adds it up here. It makes mistakes. It should be footer like this, and that's probably why. Okay, now you can see it much better, but pretty much sometimes it, like when I'm doing column or whatever I'm adding, it'll add it to the end of this footer right here, and it just messes up the code. But so now we pretty much styled the wrapper part and then also the column, so you can see this is what we have here. Let me go ahead and actually finish up the container. So go back to containers, that footer. So now you can see it. And then pretty much we could literally copy and paste this now. So here we can go and let's see, Command C this, and make sure you highlight the columns and make sure you have it in order. So that's one. So if you save it, you'll see it's doubled, and then do it again and then again. So in case you missed it, sometimes you like highlight the top column and it looks weird, but right now it should look like this, and then basically it's all the 4-footer section. So if you wanted to change this to let's say let's see, services, and technically you can add the fourth one. So let me add a fourth one to all the rest of them, because these have 4. It doesn't matter how many you want to add, 4, 5, 10, whatever. And then let's just go ahead and let's change these right here for now, just so you can see that they're different. And then marketing, let's do consulting. Let's change this to let's see, development, and then let's do design. All right, cool. This one, let's change that to contact us. Story can, let's see, not story, let's change that to United States. It's going global. Got United Kingdom. Let's see, Australia, and then let's see here, what I put, supports. And last one will be the social, and then it could be like Facebook, Instagram, and let's see, what do I got with YouTube, and then last but not least, we'll do Twitter here. And I'll save this, and now you can see that they're different. Now it looks weird yet, but basically we're gonna go back to the footers in the styles folder under components, and let's finish editing this stuff. So let's go into the row now, and let's say display :grid, not grid. Let's say grid dash template dash columns, and then we're gonna say repeats autofill, comma min max, parentheses 230 pixels, comma 1FR, and then let's have a grid gap of 20 pixels, and let's save that. Right now nothing is happening. And then let's go into here, and now for the link, let's do let's see, color hashtag FFF. Let's say margin dash bottom, let's do 20 pixels, font size 18 pixels, and then text decoration, let's do none. Let me see how this looks right now. So right now it looks like the row, it looks like the row did not go as planned. I'm not sure why it's not. Let me finish up this first, and then let me I'll go and double check after, see what happened. But it should have actually, yeah, for the link, let's go press enter here, and let's say and :hover, and this is the way for style components to essentially add these effects. So say color, just say hashtag FF9C00, and then transition will be 200 milliseconds ease in. And then for the title, let's say font size 24 pixels. Color colon FFF. Margin dash bottom will be 40 pixels, and then font weight is going to be bold. So now that should have yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. Let me see. Yeah, it's weird why it's not I must have missed something. Oh, going crazy, guys. But I knew, see that right here, I forgot to semicolon. I was like, there had to be something wrong, and I saved that there. And then let me see, still nothing yet. So let me change, go to row, and under it say at media, and then max width 1000 pixels, and curly braces say grid templates columns, and let's do, just copy this, save us some time, just repeat, and let's just change this to 200 pixels, save that there. And I'm not too sure why it's not doing what I want it to do. It's kind of weird. Let me see if I can open up the console. Make sure nothing's wrong here. Yeah, so I don't see anything wrong there. Let me check. Let's see. Let me check my index real quick. So let me check the actual footer. I must have missed something to where, yeah, that's what happened. We forgot. Looks like, yeah, I forgot the footer row. That's the most important one. So now let's go under footer wrapper and add the footer row. And then let's take the end piece right here, command exit or cut it, and then go all the way to the bottom right before the wrapper. Then under the column, command V and save it. And there we go. Okay, I was going crazy for a second, but now we have it looking like this. So far the hover effect works and it looks decent, but looks nothing like what I created. And you're probably wondering, yo, what are these? How do I get rid of this? And the typical way in CSS is like you do the asterisk symbol, and then you do border box sizing, all that. But for here, we're gonna create our actual global style. So go over to SRC, right click that, and just type for new file, and then just say global, say global-styles.js, and then we'll just go ahead and let's import this. Let's say imports, and then curly braces, creates global style from quotes dot, well not dot, style dash components, and then enter, and then let's say export const global styles. We're gonna set that equal to create global style backtick, go inside the backticks, press enter, and then you just target the HTML body, and then the typical stuff you see where you do box sizing, border dash box. I'm gonna set the margin to 0. The padding is gonna be 0. I have the font family of Nunito, so let me just do that after. Let's say position, and this part you don't have to add this. This is just because we're creating just a footer. Since we have nothing on the websites, it's gonna be at the top, like as you notice. So adding this top 300 pixels will bring it down basically to the bottom of the page, and we save it and nothing happens, and that's because we have to go to our index.js and import this. So let's go right under the React DOM, let's just say imports, curly braces, global styles from / global dash styles. Save that there. And let me see, I forgot one last thing, and we have to add global styles here. Now if I do this, watch, you're gonna see something, global styles. If I try to save this, it's gonna be an error, and that's because we need to add a wrapping tag around this. So essentially, do you want a JS fragment? Well, yes I do. So let me add this here, and then go we're on the outside of the app, so we're still inside the comma, and then just go under that line, and then slash there, save it. Boom, here we go, and we're pretty much done with the footer. The only last thing is the icons. So this part is we're missing is the icons, and definitely you want to stay and watch to see how this, because it's not as easy as you would think. If you use Font Awesome, it's a little different, at least the way you implement that. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and add the Google font as well. So here I googled Google Fonts, search that up, or just go to fonts.google.com and then just type in Nito. I think I clicked on the Sans one. Yeah, that's what I clicked on. And then just go to regular 400, select that style, go to embed, and then copy the link. And then in the public folder above the SRC, this one little hiding up here, go to index. And we don't need this stuff here. Let me delete this. And let's copy in this fonts right here, save that. And let me drag the folder down. And let's go back to global styles now. And then under the background, if we go to back to Google Fonts on the import tag, go down here, you'll see font family. Copy that in there, boom. And then go back, and now the font looks much better, at least in my opinion here. And then we're pretty much done with the global styles now. So now we need to add the icons, because this is pretty basic, but I want some icon. I can't look at this without it. So pretty much this is the way I did it. It's a little extra, but I just want to show you the concept. So if you go back to the components and create a new folder, let's just call this icons. And let's repeat the process we did. So we're going to create the new file and call it index.js within the icons folder. And then within the icons folder, we're going to create the new folder and then name it styles. And then within the styles folder, we're going to call this icons.js. So exactly the same thing we did with the footer, except now we have icons, we have index.js in icons, and then we have the styles folder with icons.js inside of styles, which is inside of the icons folder here. And first thing we have to do is go to our index, and let's say imports React from React, and then imports icon, actually it should be caps, icon from close dot slash styles slash icons, which is the folder we created up there. And then let's say exports default function icons, and we technically could have put this in the footer, but in case we end up using this again on like another page, it would be much better for it. But now here, instead of passing the other stuff we put in with children res props, I'm going to pass in class name. And the reason we're doing that is because the icons are class name specific. So if you want like the Facebook icon or YouTube icon, you got to essentially input that. So I'm going to say return icon, I'm going to say class name. It's equal to class name. So essentially whatever you pass in, and that just close out like this, and hit save. And then before I go to the icon to start styling it, let's actually import Font Awesome. So in case you're brand new, you've never used Font Awesome, go to fontawesome.com, sign up for an account, and go to your little profile image here, click on it, and then go to the CDN. So Font Awesome CDN, which is this page right here. Scroll down and you'll have this link. You just click it, copy it, and then we'll just go back to our public folder here, and then just below the Google Fonts, within the head tag of the HTML, we're going to copy that, save this, go back out of the public folder, back into icon styles, and let's go back to the icon.js file here. And if you're ever lost, usually the thing will show you like where I'm at right above. So in case you're like, well, where am I at? It's basically components, icon styles, and then icon.js. And this is the easiest thing of your life you'd ever type. So just say import styled from styled components, and then let's say exports const icon. No, this is the way I did it. Feel free to comment below better ways to implement this. But basically I'm gonna say styled I, and then because it's a I tag, not like a div. And that's one thing I forgot to Yeah, I realized I forgot to do that on the footer. As we go back to the footer, these shouldn't be all divs. They should actually be specific to whatever you're creating. So the first 4 are perfect with div, 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 div here. But for the link, notice that's one thing I realized when I was hovering over it. It's like a it looks like you're about to like type some text. So I should have changed that from a div to the A tag. And then let's change the title to the P tag here. So I save it now, and now when I hover, you'll see we have the little finger because it's like a link. So that was one thing right there, just to notice. Just one thing I forgot to mention. But good thing we have this here because I would have probably forgot about this. But now let's go back to style.I, because again, icons, in case you don't know, they look like this. Like that's how icons look with the class name inside of it. So pretty much I'm gonna say I backticks, enter in here and just say font size 18 pixels, and then margin right, this will be 16 pixels. And let's save this, and nothing happens because we have not actually utilized this icon. So let's go to our containers folder here, go to footer.js, and now here's where the magic happens. I'm gonna go into the, let me actually make it bigger. So let me just see if I can, no, I can't do it. All right, so basically go into your social media tabs here, and then do the @ sign icon class name, set that equal to quotes, and then I'm going to import FAB, so FAB space FA dash Facebook dash F quotes, and then the closing tag here. And pretty much you actually can delete the let's delete this one. This worked for me this way. Again, let me know if there's better ways to have it. Basically, if I save this now, something's not right. Let me see. Oh yeah, I forgot to import it without even realizing it. So let me see. Yeah, let's go to the top here. We got to import the icons because we don't have them in here. So it's like, what is going on? So imports icon from, guess where, / components / icons. Save that. And now what happened? Let me see. Saying Facebook is not defined. Let's see. Oh, of course, because it's not a Facebook, it is an icon. And let's save that again, make sure everything's good. All right, perfect. Now we got a little Facebook icon. So now if I scroll it out, you can see there, you can see it. So basically we'll just rinse and repeat this. So it's copy these tags here, and then boom, in the YouTube, and then the Twitter, and then we'll just change the class name. So in case, let me go and show you really quick in case you have no idea where I got the class names. Basically, if I go to let's see, go to icons, on font awesome. So if you already use font awesome, you already know, but just in case someone's like, whoa, what's going on? Facebook, let me just type that in. Actually, we're on YouTube, so let me type YouTube in, and then click on the logo for YouTube. And this is the class right here. As you can see, it's iClass FAB space FA dash YouTube. So that's what we're just passing in here. So if I were to go here and change this to, what was it, FAB FA dash YouTube, I save it, go back to React, boom, you can see the YouTube logo pops up. So that's in case you weren't familiar with like what's going on there. And then here, this should just be FAB FA dash Instagram. And last but not least is Twitter. Let's see, Twitter, save that there. And booyah, we are complete. So this is the footer. Hover over it, everything looks pretty good, and everything's working fine. So definitely, if you enjoyed this video, go down below, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know any other ways to refactor the code, make it better. And if you want to follow me along this journey, you're brand new to my channel, I'm essentially documenting myself, learning how to code, and just showing you what I'm coding and building up. If you want to follow me along that journey, then definitely go down below, subscribe, comment, and like, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.